About 3 or 4 years ago, I gave a talk to the National Association of Mortgage Brokers. They don't seem to be hiring a lot of people these days recently. But right before me, they had the 4 top people in the country, top producers. And they were going to give their words of wisdom. First person comes up and she says, "My success strategy, it's easy. I just work harder than everybody else. I'm in the office at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I'm writing out mailers, I'm sending out things, I'm making phone calls, I'm doing this, I'm schmoozing, I'm boozing, open house, I'm on 10 at night, I'm on." You know, I listened to that, I was like, jeez. Second person comes up. "I never go home. Man, I'm working so hard, I'm in the office all day." Third person comes up. "I ain't even got a home." Fourth guy comes up. I figured, wait a minute, dude, what's this dude gonna say, man? And the guy said, "My success strategy," is the top guy in the country. "My success strategy, I give a passionate 80% effort." And what? He said, "I work my butt off 5 days a week, 6 hours a day." Was this a joke or a jerk? I mean, would they sneak this dude in? And then he told the story. This is the first story in my book about not working so hard. He said, "You know, I used to be one of these workomaniacs. You running, racing. And he said, man, I was so stressed, working so hard. You know, my marriage was on the rocks. I didn't even recognize my kids. I couldn't sleep. I had, you know, all kinds of, you know, tics and tocs, and, you know, I was a mess." And he said, and my business was okay. He said, "I got to do something different." So he said, "I took some time off. I took a couple of days off. I started to rethink things. I said, I want to see, is there a better way to do this?" And what he said, he realizes, as the mortgage broker, you're at the end of the line. People come, they buy a house, they find a place, then they got to get a mortgage. You know, like you guys. Guy writes an RFP, and then he sends it to you. So you're at the reactive end. He said, what if I was at the proactive end? Remember what Sam Walton said? Always consider the opposite. And he started thinking, you know, he checked with the Chamber of Commerce. He found that there were some big companies coming into North Carolina where he lived. So he contacted the companies before they came there. And he talked to them, and eventually he went out and made a presentation, and he showed people the housing, the, you know, the recreation, the education, you know, all of that stuff. And while the people were there, with the people who were going to move there, he pre-qualified them for a mortgage. The guy made $5 million in his pocket that year. $5 million. What did he do? He stopped for a minute. What I said, stop, look, choose a different way. Stop, look, and choose. That's the key thing. Stop and step back. Look at what you're doing. Rethink some of the rules of your game. That's what he did. That's a formula. You know, he went from being at the reactive end to being at the proactive beginning and creating the opportunities.